Every day I search in spite of me. Every day I search for what I cannot see. Every day I search for you. Every day I search for the truth. Just can't help falling in love with you. More with everything you do. Speak and the mountains tremble with fear. And at the sound of your voice, I know you are near, be near to me. Every day I long deep inside of me. Every day I long for what's plain to see. Every day I long to be with you. Every day I long for the truth. Just can't help falling in love with you.
Hello and welcome to Church Online with the Ecclesian House. I'm Pastor Bill, and as always, I am joined by the amazing, straight from Tennessee, Pastor Nooms. And how you doing, Pastor Nooms?
Why you gotta lie to all these people? Why do you
What do
always
you
have to
mean?
lie to all these? You're always lying to all these people.
How?
I'm not any of those things.
You're in Tennessee.
I'm good. I'm good. Other than the fact that I messed my camera up last week in traveling, and so now all my color contrasts are completely off, and it's going to irritate me because I'm actually blurry in my opinion, and we fixed it all, but for some reason it's not reading it correctly, and we ran out of time, and so it's going to irritate me. So I'm just going to look over here to your face, not at my face over here for most of the time. So, yeah.
That's funny. So as far as video wise, earlier you were sharing your screen with me and I could see what was going on. And somehow between then and now, what I'm seeing is, it's split. My screen is split. Half of my screen is saying my audio is connected. The other half of my screen is supposed to be your camera. And when you share your screen, it's supposed to make those two small
Yeah.
and then show me your screen.
Mhm.
And what it's done is it's made your screen as if it was a video feed. And so it's just trapped in this little box and I still can't see you. All I can see is myself. Maybe if I pin you, it'll there we go. Now
Okay.
I can see it better. Yeah, I pinned you and it made it big so now I can actually see you. So, how was your week, man? I know 2 weeks. How was your 2 weeks? Because we didn't meet last week. We took time off to both spend times with our family. Because it was Easter, and you had just gotten back from a trip, and I felt like we needed some family time. So that's what we did.
Um, my week was good. I started playing this really crappy game that I can't stand. Um,
And yet you're completely addicted to it.
I am not. You can't
And
prove.
my messages from you have increased by about 500%
That's a
over
lie.
the past week.
You can't prove any of that. I could, but you don't have the ability to hook your phone up to the camera feed. So, blah. I can click this button right here, and I can put the game just right over your face,
I'm sure you could.
and nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it is it's I know why I didn't play it the first time
Mm-hmm.
because I recognized certain parts of it that I would not like over time.
Yeah.
But um I had looked at it from a standpoint of I had looked at it actually before you told me about it cuz like you're in area 48 and I was way back in area 27 when I first
Mm.
and so it was before you had said, "Hey, let's play this together." Um and so because of that, it's just not a game that I would typically play myself. Um but because you're playing, it makes me want to because you're playing, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
um, like I want to. I'm the hardcore gamer in our relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for there to be something out there that you enjoy that I'm not at least giving a valid shot is just wrong. And so
You feel like you've betrayed me?
I just it's one of those where it's like, okay, he's gonna play this for a minute or two and he's gonna exit because he doesn't play hardcore anything but like the fantasy RPGs back in the day. Like, so this is not going to be a thing he does for a while, so I'm not going to, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, it was and is, and you haven't left. And I'm going,
Mm-mm.
all right, I'll give it a fair shot then. Which happens a lot with me in games because I play a lot of games. I download a lot of, like, my girls, they'll find a game on Google Play and I'm like, you won't like that, it's got too many ads. Well, how do you know? Been
Well,
there,
because I've played it before. Hello.
done that already. Just trust
Yeah.
daddy. Like, I downloaded it 3.5 weeks ago. I deleted it 1.5 days after because in the first 6 minutes, 4 minutes were ads. And they're like, oh, okay, see, it's right here on my list. Okay, I get it, Dad. Fine. I was like, okay, don't ask me questions. Like, um, so because of that, that's really why I wanted to get into it. It was to see, okay, what really is it? Um, and you know, like you said, you're enjoying it. So I figured, hey, let's give it a proper shot, not just a, it's not my style. Um, because I hate the waiting. I
Yeah.
hate the waiting. Um, in between being able to do things. Like if both my ships get destroyed, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's a strategy game. You got to have those speed ups and or that lat so that if both your ships get destroyed, you can pull one back out and while the other one's repairing, send that ship off to go do something. But yeah, if you go all in and use up all your speed ups and all your latinum, then yeah, there can be these long wait times where it's like, I guess I got to go do something in real life now.
well, and you know, for our friends out there in cyber world, the thought process that I only have one game going is humorous as it is.
Right.
So I mean, I can handle it, but it's one of those where it's like an idle game, you're always building towards something. So even when you're not on or not, you're still building towards something. So to me, the thought that I'm playing a game but I'm literally not doing anything
Mhm.
drives me up the wall a little bit because it's like, okay, well, and engagement. Like the game does not have a engagement piece if you're on cooldowns for everything, which is good and bad. It's more the American style of, um, oh, we'll just walk away. Your more Eastern style of game always has something you could be doing. Everything might be on cooldown, but there'll be some stupid little mini game that you get 2 credits for playing. You know, there's always
Yeah.
some to keep the engagement there. And I've played games like that for so long that I'm just like, well, there's got to be something I can be doing,
Hmm.
and they're not because I do.
Yeah.
You know me. I I hit the uh, upgrade this. It's gonna take 3 days. Spend everything because I'm not waiting 3 days.
Yeah. I'm
You
not
know,
waiting through.
and now I'm like, all right. And I don't even like Star Trek that much. I'm sorry, internet world. Um, I've never been my Biggs is a big fan of Star Trek. Tina is Zadie is a big fan of Star Trek. Um, you know, Zadie was like, "Hey, can I watch the Star Trek movies without you?" And I was like, "Please,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
pl-
understand why you're asking.
please, because I don't wanna." Um,
Don't make me.
so I mean, it's that whole thing where there's really nothing about this game that I should be enjoying other than the fact
But
I know I'm chasing you. I think that's the only reason. It's because I'm chasing you.
you're chasing me.
Hmm. I'll never catch you, and that's the fun thing also. Is because there's no way I'll ever catch you.
Why is that?
Because you've been playing non-stop for months.
But I would consider you a whale when it comes to gaming. So I'm pretty sure you could buy your way up to where I am pretty quick.
I mean, I'm trying not to do that though.
I hear you. I do.
It's like we had the conversation.
But you could.
I could. I actually checked my gaming account because I've canceled some of my subscriptions because I'm really just playing Atlas and it's not got a subscription and I'm not doing this and I'm not. So I've lowered my subscriptions down and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I mean that jellyfish does look really really nice and it's Spock's ship, the
$50
jellyfish, and it's $50 and I'm like I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Pull out my phone, tap the Capital One app, which is where my gaming account is, and it's like, you have $75 and you can blow this money account. And I'm like,
Oh no.
I have $75 in my I can blow this account. But I'm not gonna do it. And then today, I have gotten killed by 3 jellyfish. And I'm going, no, I already said I'm not gonna do it. And now I'm just gonna be stubborn. I'm going to wait for it to be an event. Billiam said the events rotate. I can wait.
Yep.
I can wait. I can wait like a good boy. I can wait. There are other things I can do and better ways to spend my money in the game that would help me long term than this. So
rather than a jellyfish that you'll outgrow in about 10 levels.
Right. And that's what I know. Like I know it's good for this level, but I know it's not because like
it's good for where you are, but at 25 it's going to become pointless.
My yellow ship. See, so here's the bad thing about Noom's gaming, and those of you who haven't ever experienced it a lot. I have dyslexia, and so I barely speak English, and I don't type English at all very well. I'm like Biggs, and so reading words that are designed to be foreign just
like
doesn't
Findra,
work. Yeah.
Tala.
So my Findra, thank you for saying it out loud because now I can almost do it until I forget. My Findra is, I'm feeling the limit of it already. At the moment. I know there's upgrades I don't have, but at the moment I've outgrown it because of my Talia and my what's the other one? What's the other one that's doing better than it? The Realta?
Rialta?
No, not Rialta. No. The
Rialta's
Taurus.
your first ship.
The Taurus.
Yeah, the Taurus. Taurus. Yeah.
So, it's Bill's looking at his game. His video flashed.
No, I was checking my Wi-Fi because I'm getting some major, I don't know, pixelization on the screen here, and I was trying to make sure I'm not on the Wi-Fi. Which I'm not, but my face looks like I don't know.
Which is hilarious because today it's
one
coming.
Of those Pollock paintings.
Today it's coming across fine so far. You've had no issues today. So.
Well, I'm receiving like I'm some kind of surrealist painting.
Well, your send is being great. So.
Like this is steady, and the Ecclesiastes logo is steady, and my microphone's doing fine. But my face and all my clothing and your face and all your clothing are just like chink, 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 chink.
Oh, so what you're receiving from me. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Teams is a bitch. Teams suck. Teams has some Microsoft issues.
Right. So you're enjoying the game.
Ask me how I really feel about Microsoft. We can get in a...
Right. So you're enjoying the game.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start mining, as opposed to
like
just
real mining.
Yeah.
So, I see.
Pastor Bill coined his own phrase that I'm sure is not the first time, but the first time I've actually heard it, is we have mining, M-I-N-I-N-G, and mining, M-I-N-E-I-N-G, or N-G. We hadn't decided, whatever it is. But it's mining. I'm going to go sit on a node and get it. And then mining, which is, mine, and
you went over your protected limit. That's mine now.
So, and I got mined this morning by a jellyfish, both my ships, and then I got killed outright for no good reason by a jellyfish later. But that's beside the point.
Are you in a miner or in a non-miner?
This morning or this afternoon?
When you got killed outright.
When I got killed outright, I was just sitting in open space, but I'd been there for about 10 minutes because I was driving, so I might have.
Yeah.
I know there's people that if you're there for so long, you're no long, and so I'm fine with it. Like it wasn't like this person hit me. It was USMC, someone in USMC, and so I wasn't like I knew I had been sitting in open space for a while because I was
Hmm.
driving home from my parents, so it wasn't like someone killed me that shouldn't have. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I violated something somewhere because it wasn't like I got there.
You became a floater is what it
Yeah,
is.
and
You were
so
floating in space. So
um, yeah, I'm not trying to write in Cleon. No, there's no way. Like, I love the people. They're my favorite people, in the Star Trek universe. But I know it's
you're not gonna try to
shocking.
understand the
I'm not gonna
language.
try to understand it. They're my favorite in Star Trek, and the Mocklins are my favorite in Orville. Well, most about the Mocklins, not everything about the Mocklins in Orville. They're kind of sexist pigs. But other than that part,
Other than the part that they only have males, and when you're born a female, you're made into a male. Other than that,
or you escape onto this whole
yeah,
planet of Mocklin females that
right.
is this huge
I've also
secret.
escaped. Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. Anyway, um, yeah. So that I yeah, I like those. I like the brutish races. I know it's shocking.
Yeah. So my week, I left my alliance that I've been with forever. We had a falling out. When Morta, our admiral, was stepping back, he got a job and just really wasn't enjoying the game anymore. 2 years playing every day the same game and being in leadership the whole time, basically the whole time. Kind of burnt out. And I stepped into the admiral position, and even before then, um, it had become less and less of a game and more of a part-time job. And then when I stepped into the admiral position, it became even more like a job um, that I wasn't being paid to do. Instead of showing up to play a game, I was showing up to play, to play a part-time job. And then now that I was the admiral, I had all these voices, you're not doing this right, you're not on enough. Why aren't we doing this? We need to do this. It just wasn't fun anymore. So I left. We had a big falling out over it. Um, and there's a fair amount of people in Kang that won't even talk to me now. And then there's some that I've talked to every day since that happened. But I joined the biggest alliance on the server, ABOT, and they win they get number one on all of the alliance events and all of that. And it turns out it's not a lot of great players. There's a lot of players that
There's a lot of
are
whales.
well, it's not even a lot of whales. It's like 10 or so whales, and then about 60 people that are just being carried along by the whales. And most of those 60 probably wouldn't be able to hold their own in any other alliance. And so I don't know. I don't think I'm going to stay in ABOT after this month is over. I'll give it the month to see if I build any relationships or if it's worth staying. But so far, a weekend, I just don't think it's the long-term home for me in the game. So,
And I jumped in an alliance just because you get some rewards for doing it. And
an alliance that I picked for you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I made sure it was one that was valid. Not a lot of people buy things, but they are very active.
Yes.
And so I'm enjoying it. I haven't built a lot of relationships just because I'm not in it for that.
Yeah.
I have my other things for that, but there definitely is some really close friends in here. and I'm eavesdropping on their conversations currently, and
Yeah. They have
it's
these
it's fun.
conversations in Alliance chat, and you're like, ooh, do they know I'm lurking?
Yeah. And then I'll say something like, "What's that?" 7 and 8. Oh, okay. 7, 8. Got it.
7, 8.
No, I'm just throwing out an example. Like,
Oh, okay.
just
You're
I'll
just
ask.
throwing out random
Yeah,
words.
I ask a question and they just answer, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
So I mean, they're good. It's we're in all the alliance stuff. We're rank 13.
hmm
Um, and so it's not great, but it's not bad.
I mean, it's a good starter alliance. I thought about putting you in Kang, but given what's recently happened, I didn't think you'd feel comfortable there.
Probably not.
Um, and I didn't want to put you in something that I thought would be too demanding, given that you're learning the game. And so I thought it was a good balance.
Yeah,
And the fact that they had an open alliance where you don't have to have an invitation. It just
yeah.
worked out really well. So
Now, as I chase you more and more, hopefully we can end up in the same alliance at some point.
we'll definitely end up in the same alliance, even if we have to start our own and start recruiting people. We'll end up in the same alliance. I don't think it'll be a bot.
I don't want
What?
to do that. I don't want to do that.
You don't want to start an alliance?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
All the reasons you said previously.
Oh, you don't want to play a part-time
Mm-mm.
job.
Mm-mm.
You want to play a game.
I got
Yeah.
enough games that I could turn into part-time jobs, and I don't need another one.
Mm.
Um. So yeah.
Yeah, there's this guy that I think he's got 10 different accounts. His name is Rev Deuce. He makes YouTube videos about Star Trek Fleet Command, and that is his full-time job.
Yeah.
He earns 100% of his income from YouTube just making videos about Star Trek Fleet Command. He just recently, probably about a month ago, joined our server as his 10th account, and his plan is to build up to level 14, and then he'll make videos on, this is what playing the game as a 14 is like, da 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 da, and he'll use our server for that. So yeah,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there any
but
longer.
he joined basically like the redheaded stepchild alliance of our server. They're called Death Stars, and nobody really likes them. They have alliances with other alliances, agreements with other alliances, but it's more like, can you please just stop annoying us? Are the basis for those alliances.
All right.
So yeah, they're awful. I can't stand them. But that's what that is. So, but yeah. So when I say like 10 whales carrying everybody else, I mean literally. I logged onto the game the other day, and this guy who's level 41, meaning the store doesn't offer him packs that cost less than $99 a piece, right? I logged on, and he had made 13 purchases that morning. 13 purchases that were at least $100 a piece. So dude just got up and decided, I'm gonna drop $1,300 on the game today, and that's not abnormal for him to just
Yeah.
jump on
There are
and
some
then
people who
you
do
know
that. We had when I worked at Wells Fargo, we had a lawyer, and this was back in like Facebook gaming was big. Like mobile
Mhm.
gaming hadn't gotten huge yet because our phones still sucked, but Facebook
Well,
gaming
Facebook gaming
was big. And she had a separate account with a separate credit card because you can't trust online stuff. And
Mhm.
that hasn't changed in 10 years.
Nope.
Almost 20, but still. That hasn't changed. And so she would come down from her. We were in a high rise, and we were the bottom. It was the Wells Fargo building over there in Meadowbrook,
Yeah.
and we were the bottom level. She'd come down from the top floor, walk in. Um, I need to put this much money from this account to this account, and you open up the account, And it was just Facebook, 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 Facebook. Because all her outs were Facebook, and then you'd see an in, and then out, 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 and that was her entertainment. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
there going, "You're up there with clients, just like." Uh-huh. So I wonder where she has landed now that like mobile gaming is bigger. Um,
Yeah.
it really makes me wonder what game she actually landed in because she was playing that Mafia game.
Mm.
That was real big, and there's not
Everybody was playing the Mafia game back in the Facebook gaming
everyone
days.
was. You're right. It was either that
Yeah.
or Farmville or both.
Yeah, I played the Mafia game back in the Facebook gaming
I
days.
found a modern version of it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get back into it. It's lost the nostalgia.
And then they had a bunch of clones of it, like vampires and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. It was crazy. Yeah. All right.
We're more than
So-
warmed up.
We are fully warmed up. We've nerded out for about 30 minutes now, which is fine because we are nerds. So no big deal. And I know we've got Zadie on. I know we've got Biggs on. They've both chimed in on the chat. And by the way, we now have the chat set up where if you type in something, regardless of what channel you're on, everyone on every other channel can see it. So if you type it in on Twitch, it shows up on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope. We also have the chat channel on our Discord server up and running, and it picks all that up too. So anything you type in Twitch when we're live shows up on the Discord server in the chat channel called Church Online Live. And we also have the audio going through there as well. We hope to, or I hope to, I'm sure Noobs hopes to too as well, to go ahead and build up the Discord server and really create more of a community there and try to draw in more people to receive ministry from us, because that's what we're here to do. And so we want to create a community where we can do that. And they just recently, in the broadcasting service that we use for our streaming, they just recently added Discord capabilities as an option for the chat, and added the Restream bot that allows the chats to be universal on all the channels that we're using, instead of just which has
been very, very needed because all streamers have complained about that for a while.
I bet
that they can't do both. And so it's really nice that they are able to, every time I look over at myself, I look terrible, that they are able to actually do that.
Yeah. So now when I'm ready to type in the chat, I can just type straight into the Discord channel, which I pretty much have Discord open all the time anyway. And then it picks it up and drops it to Restream. So now it actually says my name, Theet Lungbarrow. That's my gaming handle. I need to go in and change my name on my Discord, I guess, to Pastor Bill, and then just change my nicknames in the other servers that I'm in.
I would do it reverse.
Well, see, I have a nickname on the Ecclesian House server as Pastor Bill.
Okay.
But then when it sends that chat over, it still sends it as Theet Longbarrow.
Oh, because that's your main.
Because that's my main name. So
I see.
You know what? I can do that right now. Just change my. Nope, I don't want to copy my username. I want to change my username. No, I don't want to change the avatar. I want to change my name.
I know it's.
It says, "What's your current password?" I'm guessing. That is not my password.
Okay, so you have to do that later. Cool.
It's one of these variations. Okay, I might have to do that later because I don't know what my password is to my Discord. Yeah, Big says yes. Let's do that right now, which everyone can see. Everyone that's watching live can see what Big just said, so I no longer have to read the comments and then reply to them. I can just reply to them um, auditorily,
Yes, auditorily.
whatever, auditorily. I can just reply to them. Um, right. So, what are we talking about this week, Pastor Nooms?
So we are talking about life after death, or
Right.
things like life after death. I can't remember what the podcast was actually titled. I'm sorry, I fail.
No, that's right. Life After Death was the title.
Oh, it
More
was.
specifically, Life After Death after the time of Christ. If you go with the full title from the context inside, from the end of the
Mhm.
first paragraph, Life After Death after the time of Christ. But yeah, we're talking about life after death. We've talked about it before, and we had a great conversation about our different views on how Sheol worked and its relation to paradise, and how we've heard different things, and obviously neither one of us have ever seen Sheol, neither one of us have ever seen paradise. Listen, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen either one of those. I mean, I'm still living, but I've seen things, but I'm pretty sure that's not one of them. And I know you haven't seen them, because I'm pretty sure that would have come up in conversation if you had seen any of that.
Yeah,
at its
I don't play in any
life.
circles that I would have gotten there
Yeah.
accidentally. I haven't been shadow stepping through other realms or anything.
I've been shadow stepping through other realms. That's not something that
We
you've ever
condone.
done.
We don't condone it as the
Um,
Ecclesian House.
Nor do we condone these activities. Right. So we're talking about life after death, and it's when we talk about this, we have to really keep in mind that there's a reason why we say life after death in the time of Christ,
Mhm.
because death now works differently than the way death worked before Christ.
Mhm.
And the only reason that that's important is because the New Testament tells us that Christ defeated sin and death.
Mhm.
Well, why did he need to defeat death, and why did he need to do anything there if there wasn't going to be a change, if there wasn't something that needed to be changed? So that leads us to have to look back and go, well, what was death like before Christ,
Mhm.
so that he then needed to defeat death and set up a new system? So basically, what we understand of death from the Old Testament and other various texts, but we mainly stick with the biblical texts, we know that after death, there was a place where people's spirits would go, and it was either in the pit or it was in paradise. And we have this understanding of Sheol being the place of the dead, right?
Mhm.
And so this word Sheol is kind of it's an all-encompassing word for where every dead thing goes. And the Jewish understanding, the Jewish belief was that your spirit stayed in your body for up to 3 days from the moment that you died. And at the end of those 3 days, then two angels would come and they would collect your spirit, and they would then fly you down to Sheol. And depending on depending on your karmic balance, basically, they would either deposit you in one of the layers of the pit, or they would deposit you in paradise. Okay. Now, paradise was then later known as Abraham's bosom, where everyone righteous was deposited. And the pit was never really given its own real name, other than they call it things like the other side of the chasm. They call it things like the place where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. They call it, it has nicknames, but it never, in the Bible, is never given a real name for what the pit is. But we know that's where anyone with a negative balance, more or less, that's where they go. And we see that theme play out in a lot of other religions. In Islam, there's these tinges of this balance that Allah keeps this thing of balance on what you do. We see it in Egyptian mythology, where you literally have to go talk to a being who literally places your actions on one side of a scale and a feather on the other side of the scale. And if the feather weighs more than your actions, then you go on to your own personalized heaven. And if your actions weigh more than the feather, then you go on to your own personalized hell. They don't use those words, heaven and hell, but I can't remember what the actual terms are right now. But we see that theme play out in several religions all over the world throughout recorded time. And so the Jewish understanding of how the afterlife worked is no different than that. This is how big was the feather. It doesn't really matter the size of the feather bigs, because the feather represented good and light, as you know, light, not light, but goodness. The feather represents goodness. So it doesn't really matter how big the feather is. If your actions weighed more than the weight of good, then you were found guilty. And if your actions weighed less than the weight of good, then you were, judged according to that. So it's not about the actual physical weight of the feather, because it's a metaphysical understanding. And they would usually have a ceremony at funerals where they would have a scale, and they would place a feather on one side of the scale, and then they would place nothing on the other side of the scale. And when the feather would go down and the nothing would go up, they would celebrate and say, have a good afterlife and go on with your happy afterlife, because the feather weighed more than the nothing that we put on the other side of your scale. Okay. So yeah. So just the same thing we do in Western society, where someone can be a rat bastard, and at their funeral, we're still going to talk good about them. And we're still going to say things like, he didn't deserve to die. And we're still going to say things like, he's up in heaven with the angels now, even if they were, anti-God and gangster killing people and selling drugs. We still say things like, they didn't deserve to die. They were too young. We do the same thing in our funerals that they did at their funerals. We praise them even if they didn't deserve the praise. All right. So this was the understanding of death. You're weighed against your actions. You're placed there by an angel. And Jesus comes and he dies, right? And he's on the cross, and he's talking to the thieves, and one thief is mocking him for getting the same punishment they're getting, which, by the way, let's talk about this for a second. Crucifixion is a very, very, very serious punishment, reserved for very, very, very bad criminals. Who in the world do you have to steal from?
Or how much?
To get crucifixion as your punishment? That's insane. That's what that is. Okay. So one of them is mocking him, and the other one's like, dude, shut up. This is the Son of God. He doesn't even deserve to be here. Right? And Jesus looks at him and he says what?
Today I'll see you in paradise. To the one.
Today I'll see you where?
In paradise.
In paradise, which lines up directly with the Jewish understanding of the afterlife. Those with positive in their tank, as far as the goal of righteousness, go to paradise, and those with negative in their tank go down to the pit. So Jesus looks at him and says, "You know what? You're going to paradise. Congratulations." And so Jesus dies, and we know he didn't go to paradise. We know he went to the pit, but we also know that by the end of that day, that he made his way to paradise, because otherwise he would have just lied to that thief, right? So, and in that, Jesus defeats death. He takes the keys of death and hell away from Satan. We find that in Revelations. They talk about Jesus now having the keys to death, hell, and the grave that he stole from Satan. Well, this is the event where that happens. We have references in Peter where Peter talks about him going down to preach the gospel to those that are in prison there, and giving them an option to accept the gospel, and then taking them with him when he ascended into heaven, the ones that believed the gospel. And then we see in Revelations that Sheol is opened up, and those that are still in it, right? So those who, when Jesus went and preached the gospel, they rejected the gospel, they're still there, they're released out, and then their life is judged and obviously found guilty because they rejected the gospel. They didn't just reject the gospel, they literally rejected the gospel coming out of the mouth of the person who was the sacrifice to fulfill the gospel. And they still looked at him and went, "Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I see what you just did, and I see what just happened, but I'm not gonna receive that. I'm not gonna accept that." So yeah, okay. So then he is resurrected, and all this stuff happens before he's resurrected. He's resurrected, and then he appears at different places on the earth. We know he appeared to at least 500 and I don't know, however many people were in the upper room, 500 and probably 550 people total that the Bible tells us about that he appeared to. Even though the Bible only mentions a few times that he appeared, it was to over 500 people. And then he ascends into heaven, and all the rules are different on death. And we know that those are different based on the teaching of the New Testament, right? Right. And so what happens now when you die? Do you have an answer?
You sit there.
You
sleep. So it's always been my opinion, from how I've studied and my understanding, is that you sleep. It's talked about by Jesus on a couple of occasions, which in Jesus talking about it, it was because it still was within those day time periods. But the idea of sleeping in your body until judgment, because doing away with paradise and then does away with the angels coming in 3 days and taking your spirit. And so in my mind it's always been you're in your body until the judgment towards the end, because at the end it talks about the dead giving up the people, which why would you have to give up the people if you didn't have any people to give up?
Right. And Biggs, you're right, Biggs. Lazarus. We can talk about Lazarus. Lazarus was resurrected before the end of his third day. So, according to the Jewish understanding of how that works, Lazarus was still sitting in his body waiting for those angels to come and pass judgment on him. He hadn't been dead long enough. He was still there, waiting. And Jesus called out to him, and he woke up, and he came out. Same way with every other person that Jesus raised from the dead. The boy that was in his casket being carried to his funeral. He hadn't been dead for 3 days yet. The little girl that woke up and said she was hungry. Not dead for 3 days yet.
Barely dead at all.
Barely dead at all for that one. So according to all the rules that the Old Testament lays out, those people were asleep at that moment, waiting for angels to come and take their spirit from their body, and then take them to Sheol. So, yeah. And then Jesus changes everything. The angels no longer have that permission to judge over the human soul. It then becomes ransomed back to God through the sacrifice of Jesus. So now Jesus becomes our judge, and we get to stand before a just judge who then, through the life of Jesus, lived a life to be able to be a just judge, right? The angels never lived a human life. They're not capable of being a just judge. Lucifer never led a human life. He's not capable of being a just judge. Only someone who lived a human life, someone who can relate to the person they're judging, can be a just judge. And so we have that. And the scripture covers again and again and again and again that for your physical body, right? If we're talking about a physical timeline, for your physical body, you die and go to sleep. Your consciousness goes to sleep. And the next thing you know, you're waking up to rapture, or you're waking up to judgment, right? Are you grinning? Are you smiling at me?
Mm-mm.
No? Why not?
I'm trying not to talk about something.
What are you trying not to talk about?
There are times where you can wake someone up when you're not supposed to.
This is true.
Um,
Even after spirits had been taken to Sheol, they could be woken up.
yeah, and you shouldn't do that.
And
Samuel
you
got very upset.
shouldn't do that. Samuel got very, very upset. And yeah, you shouldn't do that. And interestingly enough, never mind.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
do I believe in ghosts? Absolutely. Why do I believe in ghosts? Because we have a first Samuel written by Samuel, and then we have a second Samuel that after the fact, someone went in and said, oh, one of his descendants wrote this. But the belief was always that Samuel wrote that after he died, until later they attributed it to one of his descendants. So,
Well, that's because Saul's a moron. Sorry.
Saul's a moron and hired a witch to wake him up. And then that witch didn't put him back to sleep, which is a big pain in the butt.
Anyway, side topic.
All right.
But we're
So-
talking about the afterlife. Ghosts have to come up. Sorry. But that's why I was
Right.
grinning, because I'm like, there is a time when you could.
You can wake dead people up.
But you shouldn't.
And it's not pretty, and it's not friendly, and it's not awesome.
You should not do it.
And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get more of what you call a poltergeist and less of what you're looking for, which is the Casper. So, just don't even go there. It's not going to be the person that you knew before they died.
Mm-mm.
It just won't be, because you don't have in you, no matter what power you've tapped into, you don't have in you the ability to do it right. You just don't. You're not God. So is his spirit. So, well, Zadie, I would have to say, without any evidence, yes. Given that the witch that did it would have to be the one that would undo it, or someone with a whole lot of knowledge, and I don't know why they would. I don't know. So that's a definite maybe. That Solomon is
Samuel.
my brain. Samuel. The possibility that Samuel may be out there somewhere still wandering the earth is a good possibility. And actually that makes that makes Solomon make a whole lot more sense
I
if
would
Samuel is still out there wandering around.
I would really, 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 really feel sorry for the homeboy. Because you are not supposed to walk the earth for this many years.
I mean, you are, but not in the fallen state that we're in. I mean,
Right.
Adam and Eve were designed to
But to but
originally designed to live forever,
to
so
watch humanity go through
degrade.
everything they've gone through since Samuel, it would
Yeah,
be torture.
that would be pretty bad.
That's
And
why
then
we're
not
given
being
the
able to
option to
talk
sleep.
to not being able to talk to most people, only those that can, see into that realm and perceive that realm, which is honestly far and few in between. Becoming more and more, people can see that, but um and even science is now starting to understand. I watched a video today where they were talking about um we like this is the light spectrum, right? And there's things that can be seen in all of the light spectrum, and the human eye can only see this much of the
Mhm.
light spectrum, which leaves all of here and all of here that humanity just can't perceive.
Yep.
And hearing as well, that we only hear about this much, and there's this much that's hearable, right? When Jesus died and came back, would that not make a difference? Um,
He might have grabbed him along the way.
he might have grabbed him. He might have preached the gospel to him. He might have, but I mean,
Again, no
short of
evidence.
short of divine intervention, he would be stuck until God intervened, which God could. God literally plucked Enoch off the face of the earth. He can come back and he can come down and fix Samuel's problem. So
God's like, Samuel, what? Why are you
why
walking
are
around?
you up? What is
This
wrong
one.
with you?
This one
Go
did
back
it.
to bed. That one did it. Okay, so we're back on track. We were talking. According to what are you eyeballing about?
Nothing.
Okay, according to physical timeline, your body dies, you go to sleep, you wait, right? And according to something that Nooms likes to bring up a lot, the afterlife, whatever you would call it, eternity, God doesn't exist inside of physical time. All of that exists outside of physical time. So, literally, the judgment outside of time after the rapture, where we're all watching our own lives play out as part of the judgment, is technically happening right now at the same time as we're living it, because it's happening outside of time. And so in that point of view, from God's point of view, it's instantaneous. You die and then immediately the judgment. But according to physical timeline on Earth, why does that bright light keep shining in your face, Snooms?
It is not because I'm on Google.
Okay. But according to physical timeline, you die, time moves on, you stay in your body, you'll wait and wait and wait and wait. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have anything else we want to talk about life after death? What are you Googling? Let's talk about that.
Let's not.
Well, why not? It sounds fun.
Okay. Nope. Okay. I'm good.
Okay, what?
Nothing. I
I
googled what I
want to
googled.
talk about it.
Okay, my brain went to somewhere where you know Saul is beseeched by an evil spirit.
Right?
For the majority, for lots of parts of his reign.
Right.
Um, and David helped soothe that with music and with,
Right.
with music. And so I was trying to see at what point did Saul do that? But that was First Samuel 28.
Yeah,
The
before
first
Samuel's death.
the
Yeah.
first instance of the evil spirit is in First Samuel 13. So um
Right.
I was like, because it clicked for me for a second, and I was like, did he just like haunt Saul all angry for like the just because he yelled at Saul the first time? Was he the evil spirit just walking around going, "Cause you're an idiot, cause you're an idiot. I don't understand why, cause you're an idiot." And that's it. That's just the whole time. I should be asleep, cause you're an idiot. Like,
Saul, why are you in such a bad mood? I don't know.
yeah, cause he's an idiot. Haha, you can't
No.
hear me.
No,
So
that's
that's
not how
why
that went down at all.
I thought about it for a second and I went, did God just
No.
punish him with his own thing? But no, it was previous. Okay.
No.
Anyway.
And it is an interesting thing though. It's always, I've always wanted to know what's going on there because God sends this evil spirit to torment Saul. He sends an evil spirit to torment Pharaoh. And it's like God tries the honey, and when the God-appointed leader, the God-ordained leader, rejects God, then God's like, well, if you don't want the honey, you get the stick.
I mean,
And
traditionally,
that's how God deals with leaders that He's ordained. He's just like,
I mean, it kind of works, especially Old Testament. I mean, it's
really
kind of
does.
how it worked. Like,
yeah.
um,
But there's a special relationship between God and ordained leaders,
Mhm.
and I just wonder if He still has some of that going on. Where, I mean, Abraham Lincoln talked about when he would make a bad decision, he would be haunted by ghosts in the White House who would, torment him about the decision that he'd made that he knew was the wrong decision to make. Anyway, I just wonder. But okay, so that's 7:30.
it is.
And so here, okay. So I try my best to listen to the Holy Spirit about what podcasts to write when and when to release and yada yada. So we just talked about season 3, episode 22. And I went to record this week's podcast. And when I was done and I was putting it to bed and getting it ready for release, I realized that I had recorded episode 24 and skipped episode 23. And I was like, I guess that's the episode the Holy Spirit wants to come out now. So tonight, episode 24 is coming out. And theoretically, next week, episode 23 will come out. So the episode that just came out is called Fear and Focus. And next week, we'll be taking a look at faith. But this episode is season 3, episode 24, Fear and Focus. It just came out. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can go listen to it. Anywhere that you can watch this video, you can go see my lovely face recording that podcast on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go join our Discord server. Nooms can send you an invite link, or I can send you an invite link. Just send us an email or something, and we'll get you into the Discord server. We really want to create a community there where, just like when we had our fellowships, and people could minister to each other. That's what we really want to create in the Discord server, is where people can do ministry to each other within the bounds of the Ecclesian House home,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my vision for the Discord server, is that it's not just me and Nooms doing ministry top down and trying to minister to anybody that needs ministry, but, you guys being able to minister to each other. And I know live, I'm only talking to, a few people that are heavily involved in what we're doing. But if you're catching this video later, then I want you to know that we really want, everyone involved,
Mhm.
and we don't discriminate. I mean that. We don't discriminate on the basis of sex or religion or anything. If you want to come and you want to be loved on and you want to talk about Bible stuff and you don't want to, I mean, we're not going to judge you. Some people may say some things that might make you feel judged, but us, the Ecclesian House, we want everyone to feel loved, and we want everyone to understand that this is a place where you can come to be loved on, and you can come and ask questions and get answers, where you know that we're just trying to share the information with you. We're not trying to make you feel bad, and we don't believe in manipulation. We just don't. So we love you guys, and have a great week. And do you have anything else you want to say, Pastor Nooms?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So now we're going to do 30-second buffer. Why'd you breathe like that?
Because it's something I started, but it irritates me some days. I don't know why.
It irritates you.
But I like it.
I like it.
I do.
I
too.
like it. So we're going to do it.
I know.
So, okay. Here we go. 30-second buffer.
Ooh.
30-second buffer.
Ooh.
30-second buffer. Has it been 30 seconds yet?
No.
Not at all. 30-second buffer.
Woo.
30-second buffer.
Woo.
30-second buffer.
Woo.
When will this 30 seconds end? Well, obviously at 30 seconds.
Yeah. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
30-second
30-second buffer.
We love you guys. Have a great week. Be safe. Don't eat chocolate that a dog drops.
Love you guys.